Cloud computing is a technical term that's been receiving a great deal of attention, both in publications and among its users.
The cloud is used from individuals individuals at home to the U.S. government, yet it's not always clearly defined.
That's right.
That's for me, at least. So joining us now to tell us about cloud computing is our tech expert, Nika Allen. Man, cloud. I don't get it. I don't know what it means.
Well, you're about to.
Yes.
So are the folks at home. All right, so Nika, break it down. What is the cloud?
So I know it sounds scary. Everyone is scared when you say cloud computing, but it's really not that confusing.
Okay.
It's basically a subscription-based service where you can obtain network storage and space and computer resources, but not have it have to live on your computer.
On your computer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So how do you use the cloud?
Well, so let's give you an example first. So your email, for example.
Yeah.
So you choose an email provider, Google, Yahoo, something like that. And then that client takes care of all the big expensive things like the hardware, the software, things like that. And you can basically just choose how much storage you actually need to, hold all of your emails. So that's pretty cool. But the most important part of that equation really is that your email's, again, not housed on your computer. It's housed somewhere off in space on someone else's server. We don't know exactly where it is
Somewhere
necessarily.
in the universe?
No,
Right.
but it's on someone else's server, really.
Right.
So, a server, there's server houses all over. We actually have quite a few in New Mexico that are housing servers for various big companies.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically there are these hubs that they control
Yeah.
it. I mean,
And you can just take a little piece of it.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot also, not just, in that, but even some of the applications. I know Adobe users out there, the
yeah.
Creative Cloud, all of their stuff. If you're an
Now you can
Illustrator
get it
user,
all.
Photoshop,
Exactly.
you got it on the Creative Cloud. You pay that monthly subscription, and you have the most up-to-date software of Adobe.
Yeah, exactly. You have up to date. So now you don't have to store it on your computer. You can have it updating
Those are
all
big-
the time, and you
those are
can.
big programs.
It's a big program. It takes a lot of storage space, so
Yeah.
you can just access it when you need it, access how much you need, and then you have it right there for you.
So how do you get signed up to use it?
Well, every different provider, depending on what you need, has their own cloud. So Google has their own cloud. Adobe exactly has their own cloud. So, it's customizable, it's scalable. And if you think about it, like I back up my iPhone, for example, using iCloud.
Okay.
So you can use it from something small like that to store the information on your cell phone, all the way up for big businesses to store all the data for all of their customers. So, there's huge ranges of ways that people can kind of use this information and access it, and from who, whether you're shopping and buying something or however you're doing it, something there is probably stored in the cloud.
Now, one of the big questions, and obviously there were some security breaches with celebrities, some
Yeah.
photos that were leaked,
Yeah.
things like that. Are they secure?
That's a good question. So yes and no, of course, we've heard a lot about that, and I think that that's the hype. People like to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in general, they're pretty safe. Each cloud provider has their own security precautions and security measures. So if you're interested in that, there's some questions that you could ask or that you can look up probably about some of the big providers. Questions like, what encryption methods do they have in place? Will they have backups for all of my data? Do they have firewalls to protect against, cyber criminals, things like that? You can ask some of those questions, and that'll give you a good sense of how secure that cloud might be. But of course, it's always still up to us to secure, on our end by creating secure passwords. We talk about stuff like this all the time here. And making sure that your connection is secure, and also keeping your software up to date. So all of those things, we have to play our part just as much as the cloud services have to play theirs.
Right.
So overall, what are the advantages and disadvantages?
So overall, first, one last example that I have is, I don't know if you guys have used Google Drive. So that's a great cloud, and this really helps kind of illustrate what's going on and a lot of the advantages. So if I have a Google Drive account, I can take a document that I've written on, let's say, Microsoft Word, and I can have it hosted in the cloud. So I could access it on my computer, and I can access it on your computer, and I can share it with Brittany, and Brittany and I can be writing in the cloud on that same document at the same time.
Okay.
So that really offers kind of a lot more flexibility. It gives you a lot of options for the everyday user and for the business user. There's possibilities to create, there's possibilities to share. and
also
just
seems to
increase
open
access.
up telecommuting. I mean, telecommuting
Yeah.
becoming a huge thing. People
Yeah.
working off-site. We do a lot of our stuff when we go
Yeah,
out and
I
shoot
do
things.
too.
We're working off-site. You're working off-site. So it gets that collaborative
Yeah.
effort that you would have in a regular meeting room, but it's a virtual meeting room.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, you know, we can be working on something just like you and I were sitting right next to each other, sharing a document and typing away
Yeah.
and, you know, communicating. And because we can chat on Google Drive and then we could also be writing
While
in
you're
our own
working.
documents. So
That's
things
great.
like that. And of course, you know, as we mentioned, there are the security precautions that you should have. But in general, you know, I think it's pretty good and it's getting better. So, you know, use it, experiment with the cloud. I'm sure you guys are already using the cloud more than you think.
Yeah.
For a lot of different resources. But
Yeah.
it's a great resource, and I'm glad that we have it now. But now you know how to use it, you know, in a cautious, safe way. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big thing. All right,
Thank
Nika,
you.
thank you so much.
I needed it.
Yeah, exactly. For a full recap, I know Brittany's going to hop on later on to check it out. So you at home, if you need a reclap on the cloud, recap on the cloud, head over to casa.com. Nika, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.